That's what I was talking about earlier. One of the great advantages of streaming is they don't have to do 42 minutes and allow for commercials.
Mhm.
It can be as long or short as they need that story to be.
Yeah,
And I
and
like that. I would
if
much
you
rather have a half hour episode like that than make it an hour and then there's a bunch of filler just to
right,
reach that hour.
yeah, and especially if you look at it from the perspective of, I'm gonna watch this entire season together as maybe a feature film, you know?
Mhm.
Um, I I did that with, season 1 after I'd watched the episodes, and it was just fine. I mean, it was as engaging as any other, you know, uh, sort of feature length, uh, drama, be it, sci-fi or science fiction or what have you.
Yeah. I've enjoyed it immensely, and again, not because I went in with low expectations, because I went in, as always, with no expectations, just
Mhm.
hoping it's good, and, I wasn't disappointed. And even the episodes a lot of people, criticize for supposedly being filler, I enjoy those too, and as we've seen, though even those episodes end up later contributing to the story.
Mhm.
You never know when. It may not happen right away, and as we saw, I think the most highly criticized episode from season 1 was the Tatooine episode, because people just labeled that fan service, but it served a purpose.
Which was?
And well, the first purpose of going back to Tatooine was that later in the first episode of season 2, it gives us a reason to go back, and that's where we get the armor and the character
Mhm.
who then in this latest episode finally shows up and has meaning for the
Right.
story.
It gives the
So,
Boba Fett character a reason to be important.
yeah, you don't get there unless they laid that groundwork last season in that episode. And I liked that episode. I thought it was darn entertaining.
It
And
was.
and the fan service, there's a lot of fan service in the show, but it's earned and it has purpose. It isn't just there for the sake of, ooh, look at this thing. Remember that?
Right. And
There's
that's been certainly a, accusation it's made, especially on, the channels, of, the various Fandom Menace people on YouTube, that, "Oh, they're just, the universe is so small, they're just going over the same material over and over." But what you've said about, the world building aspect of it and everything makes a lot of sense.
but the Star Wars has always been small in a sense. Wherever that galaxy is far, far away, it's a really small galaxy. It's not the Milky Way
Mhm.
because obviously they get around really quick.
It's the small Magellanic Cloud or something.
Yeah, but The Mandalorian takes place pretty much in the outer rim, so it's conceivable that you would run into the same characters or familiar characters from other parts of the story. So it's not beyond the realm of possibilities, and they have purpose when they show up.
I think one of the issues that I had with it, or at least a question, which I'll ask you and see what you think, was this takes place 5 years after Jedi.
Yeah.
Why is there an empire still? Didn't we destroy the empire and vanquish, and the rebellion became the new republic? Why is there an empire now?
Um,
Stormtroopers and
right.
star destroyers and the whole bit.
I don't know what their plan is for that, but I'll bet they have one. But um,
It certainly gives
what?
Moff Gideon somewhere to come from.
Yeah, but there's something in the original movie that I think plays into this, whether they're gonna address it straight up or just leave it lying under the surface.
Mm-hmm.
If you recall,
Tie-in.
yeah, if you recall, Tarkin announces that the Senate has been dissolved, right? And then the other guy asks, well, how will the Emperor maintain control without the
Right.
bureaucracy?
Right.
And Tarkin says the regional governors will have control, direct control. So I think what's happened is when the Death Star and the Emperor were destroyed, all these regional governors have been vying for power, trying to reform the empire under them.
Right. Everyone jockeying for power.
Which is why I think the sequel trilogy really completely missed the mark.
Oh, yeah.
Because just like that same group has done with Star Trek, they're randomly referencing stuff that they think fans will like without understanding what it actually means. And so they didn't know enough about Star Wars to really base their continuation on that. But
Yeah.
that was established in the first movie. So why are you not having all these different factions of the empire fighting each other for power under the regional governors?
That makes a lot of sense.
That's who Snoke could have been. He could have been the most powerful regional governor that's starting to actually get others to join him.
Your audio froze up. Can you repeat that beginning of your sentence?
Yeah.
Who rose up?
Snoke.
Yep.
Snoke, instead of, that character was never done properly. They messed that up completely.
Well, that's what you get with mystery box writing, you know?
Yeah. But
if you don't have an arc for an entire trilogy and you let different writer-directors come in to do their thing, that's what can happen.
Yeah. And especially when one filmmaker, JJ makes the first one, but then Rian Johnson comes in and gives him the middle finger and says, no, I'm going to do this, and screw your character. I'm going to kill him off. So then JJ can't finish that arc because Johnson killed him off out of spite. So they have to bring back Palpatine, which doesn't make any sense. The whole thing is a mess.
Yeah.
So again, why didn't you have a Snoke-like character be the most powerful of the regional governors that we already knew exist, vying for power, and he's gaining power by getting these other factions to join from the old empire, and that's how the First Order comes to be.
Yeah.
But they didn't think about that for half a second.
No.
They just thought it was cool. Ooh, the First Order. And they didn't put any thought into that at all.
The same problem that you have with, modern Star Trek and Doctor Who. It's not really handing the torch off to brilliant young writer producers so much as it is ticking the boxes and having a producer on board whose main goal is to have her brand of identity politics, like you were saying, virtue signaling. And then if there's a story, it doesn't even come in second or third.
Right. And basically,
got nothing to do.
Go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Okay. The problem with that, besides what you listed, is they're more interested in making it their own than respecting what came before. That's why The Force Awakens gets so much criticism for being a remake of the first movie, because they wanted their woke version of Luke Skywalker, making it a woman, which I have no problem with, obviously. And
nope.
There was so much potential with Rey, and Daisy Ridley is absolutely charming in the
fine
role.
Actress. Yeah.
But just, again, it was a missed opportunity by not advancing the story, but kind of starting over almost as a remake, although there's still a lot of original stuff. But I just think it was such a missed opportunity to not start by continuing the story and then maybe at the second movie moving
That's
into
what
these new characters.
Yeah.
The Force Awakens should have been the second movie of the trilogy with a few tweaks, and The Last Jedi should have been the end of the trilogy with a few tweaks to make it better.
Actually, now that you say that, I can totally see it.
Because, the way I would have started that is, you have episode 7, you have the crawl that explains what I just said, is now that the emperor's gone, the regional governors are all fighting for power, and basically, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Basically, what happens is the New Republic and the Resistance, or the New Rebellion, whatever you want to call it, is now having to deal with these factions that are fighting each other while they're fighting against the New Republic as it's trying to form.